or, you know, there's nothing involved. So I thought I'd talk first about kind of what is involved and what does it take to do video first content marketing. So the first thing is you need to prioritize authenticity. So I'm going to do my best to be real, like I said, no BS, and talk about what does it really take. That's an example of me doing my best to be authentic. And I think that what works in today's video marketplace is being yourself, being authentic, being for real. The other thing is that I know a lot of people have a lot of fear and a lot of resistance to using video. So no BS, you got to get over that fear. You're going to have to be willing to relate to the camera, to shoot video, to not make great videos when you start out, but to keep going and iterating and learning. And that's the next thing is that, you know, video marketing in particular is a practice. It requires learning, it requires experimentation, very much like learning a musical instrument or learning to play a sport. It doesn't happen right away. So it takes practice, it takes experimentation. Um, and then the last thing is that you need to dedicate some resources. Video is easier and more cost effective than it's ever been before by a mile, but it does take time. And either it's going to take a whole bunch of your time or some of your time for sure, if you're the principal of whatever organization you're with, and probably you'll need to bring in some other resources. So why am I talking about content marketing? Not everybody may be familiar with content marketing in particular. It's a very, I would say, sophisticated way to build relationships. So let's do a little bit of Internet Marketing 101. Um, these are some concentric circles that I talk about when I talk about audiences. And it's really important when you put yourself into the marketplace that you have some awareness of these different levels of relationship, right? You have your core tribe, you have those who may be casually connected, know who you are, but maybe have never really engaged with you. And then at the outer circle, there are people who have never heard of you. And so when you're speaking in marketing, when you're doing video first content marketing, for example, you need to think about it. And it plays out in really concrete ways. And this is the chart that shows that. Let me put this full screen for you because there's a lot here. Um, so sorry. It's a multi-touch process when you start to engage these different audiences. As I've got the same concentric circles here, but at the top of the funnel, this is, you know, the arrows would represent a funnel. You know, you've got the ability to attract and bring people in, and then you can maybe get them to subscribe to your email list, get them to subscribe or follow you on YouTube or on TikTok or on some other social media, then with a multi-touch process. And that's really the key here. The multi-touch process helps you understand that, or helps the audience understand who you are and get to know you and to trust you. And that's really the big deal. You know, it's not one and done. It's not, you know, like going out on a date and then asking somebody to marry you, right? It's a process of getting to know each other. And that also happens with marketing. Now, video enables people to get to know you probably better than they ever could just from photographs or writing. So it has the ability to really kind of, if you will, supercharge multi-touch process. But I've heard it said, for example, when you're on the web, you know, marketing for a long time has talked about multi-touch. And you know, one number that I think I heard over the years was it take 7 touches, right? 7 touches for a relationship to happen enough that somebody will want to buy and do business. On the web, I've heard people say it takes dozens or even scores of touches. One number I heard was 70. But the point is that it takes persistence and consistency. consistency is a really key component. I'll come back to it later. If you're looking at video marketing and video first content marketing, you need to be around for a while. I've been creating content on the web for decades, actually. I mean, I started on the web in 1995 when the web was first born. And, I haven't been there every week or every day, but I've been around, and it develops not only an expertise for me, but a certain kind of trust that happens. So I'm talking about content marketing, and it's this is based on the Content Marketing Institute, which is a resource that I really want to point people to. They have a lot of great content workshops and conferences. And this is the most of their definition of what content marketing is we're focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content. So that's a big piece of what we're talking about here is following the content marketing model. And I think about marketing not just in terms of content, but in terms of conversations. So once you get people involved in interacting, as we're going to do later when we get to the question and answer session, then you really have the seeds of successful content marketing. Conversations and ongoing conversations are what we're talking about in video first content marketing. So why video? Why are we talking about video first content marketing? Well, video, as I mentioned earlier, it humanizes and animates conversations better than any other kind of media. The ability to make eye contact. Sorry, my mouse is, where is my mouse? The ability to make eye contact. Here I am. Nice to see you all. Thanks for being here. Um, and by the way, this is going to be about not even a 10-minute more presentation because I want to get to the interactions and really talk to you about this and answer your questions or concerns that you have. But the way that video humanizes and animates conversations, not quite live person to person in person the way we used to do pre-COVID, but it has the ability of you to see me, to get a vibe of how I talk, of how I sound, how confident am I, how trustworthy, and so forth. So, that is the power of video. It really is video's superpower, and there's nothing like it. So I'm sorry, I think I skipped one there. So the challenges are when you're a marketer are not only the kind of human engagement that I'm talking about, but just being visible, right? It's a very noisy marketplace. There's lots of different kinds of media. People have lots of choices, and even with all the choices, they don't necessarily engage. When people talk about marketing these days, one of the key metrics is, are people engaging? Are people commenting? Are people asking questions? Are people showing up to the webinar? It's like, how do you get people to participate? Video also has an edge. So let's talk about the marketplace just a little bit more in terms of why now and why I think it's particularly important. The pandemic has accelerated the growth of video, and it was already happening, but the pandemic really accelerated all of that. So most of us are now comfortable meeting on Zoom. We may not like meeting on Zoom, but it's a new way to relate, and it has taken off during the pandemic. YouTube has continued to be the #2 search engine. This is really kind of an old statistic, but it's still true that, Google is the #1 search engine. Google actually owns YouTube, but when people search for stuff, they search as, only second to Google, they search for what they're looking for on YouTube. So having your content on YouTube is a huge advantage that a lot of people don't take advantage of. And then media is the fastest growing dimension of the web. Social media, as I'm sure you're aware, has become the predominant form of relating on the web, and TikTok in particular has taken off as a new way that people are relating with social video. I have actually a whole workshop on my website about why I think TikTok is important for business, so I won't get into that right now. But it's exploding. It's arguably the new YouTube. There's actually more minutes of video watched per user on TikTok already than there is on YouTube. So another thing that underscores the fact that conversation-based content is exploding is the number of podcasts that are coming out each year. I actually have an update on this chart, but the chart shows 850,000 new podcasts in 2020. And I looked up just yesterday that Spotify says in 2021 it had 1.2 million new podcasts. So, and I'm going to answer the question that that obviously raises, which is how, oh my God, how do I get heard? How do I engage when there's a million new podcasts a year? And the answer to that is that it happens because you have your audience and your particular point of view. It's kind of like saying, you know, I don't even know how many millions, maybe a billion at this point, websites, but there's certainly hundreds of millions of websites. And you still have your website and your invitation to engage and connect with people. It's just you need, in order to connect with people, in my opinion, you really need to be doing video and you need to be doing it on a consistent basis to create the kinds of conversations that podcasts are and also that video shows, or what I'm now referring to as VODcasts, video podcasts, are creating. So that's what we're talking about. Conversation-based content like vodcasts, like Clubhouse, if you're familiar with that, or Twitter Spaces, live streaming, TikTok Reels, YouTube, Twitch, which is the game streaming. Um, you know that the all of these are new conversation-based content that are just exploding. So fundamentally, what happens when you do video is that you feed this the social media ecosystem that is inherently video hungry. Well, why is it video hungry? I'll tell you why. Because the social networks are prioritizing what they call native video. So, native video means video that is on their platform. So, if you make a video and put it on YouTube and put the link to it on Facebook, that's not native. That's a YouTube video being linked to from Facebook. If you upload the video right to Facebook, it's native in Facebook. And Facebook will prioritize that because it's native video on Facebook. It's literally Facebook video. And it's just what the other dynamic is that video is happening, like I was talking about before. It is the future. It is the way people are communicating now. It is the best form of engagement. So that's why it works the best. Um, it does work best when you deliver it in a consistent human way. These pictures are all examples of vodcasts or video shows that are on YouTube, among other places. Um, it works also as a way to deepen your voice. This comes back to that earlier point about practice. You know, you show up, you articulate your message, you talk about who you are, you talk about the value of what you have to offer and how you want to serve, and your ability to describe how you're of service gets better. That's my personal experience. It gets better and better the more that I do this kind of stuff. And then the other big benefit, kind of the last main point here, is that when you do video content on a consistent basis, particularly when you do vodcasts or video shows, you spark a content creation engine. And that is a super powerful high leverage strategy. So here's how that works. Video shows or vodcasts create content creation engines because they offer you the ability to distribute that content in a variety of forms. So we create, when we do the Video Mojo vodcast, we also strip out the audio and distribute it as a podcast. So it's both in iTunes and on Spotify, as well as on YouTube and on our own blog. So secondarily, we then chop up the long form video into short form video posts. And I've got a video on my YouTube channel. It's also on my blog about the software that we're using to chop up the long form video, like the whole video show might be 20, 30 minutes or more, and turn that into 2 or 3 minute short form video posts that, again, the video hungry ecosystem eats up. We also link to our videos in email blasts. So we get the extra leverage of distributing it in that way. Um, it becomes separate social media posts, for example, with graphics. It goes on our blog. You can transcribe it if you want. There's great software now for automated transcription. So it just kind of goes everywhere. And it really is a function, getting back to resources. How much content do you want to create out of having that original, meaningful conversation that you had in the long form vodcast or video show? So bottom line benefits, we get to leverage our humanity in a way that's visually engaging. We capitalize on social media's preference for prioritizing video. We invest in the future. This is a big point that I think is important also about TikTok, that the future is video, in my opinion, and learning to engage with the camera, learning to produce video. It takes practice. It's not going to happen overnight, but investing now, getting started, no matter how small, you'll start to learn the language and develop this skill of being on camera. And you're going to stand above. There's still very many businesses that are not with the program in terms of video, vodcasting, and video on social media. And so it's the most fastest way I know to stand out and kind of excel. So, when we do it, just to give you a sense what it takes, and I'm open to questions. In order to develop a vodcast, we first do a premise development and strategic consulting. We then produce a vodcast show, a video show, usually twice a month. The frequency, obviously, these are just, like I said, a sample package of what it takes to kind of go full bore. Then we custom edit the short form videos, like I was talking about, putting in the subtitles or the captions where the words are on the screen. I think that's an important part of producing the short form videos, and that is also covered in the video that I mentioned earlier about the 3 pieces of software that we use. I like to have an email blast go out at least once a week. So when you're doing the short form, if you do 2 shows a month, you can pull at least 2 clips out of each of those shows and end up with a weekly email blast. A blog post at least for each show, and you can also do social media image posts like that. I think if you want to be in it, that then making a 6-month commitment is a logical way to go, just to find out how it's going for you and what your experience is. So that's the presentation, and I hope, I guess I ran a little bit over. We did about 20 minutes of presentation, but I tried to keep it as information dense as I could. And I really want to kind of step up to your Q&A and see if we can get a dialogue going. How can I be useful? Those of you that are watching the live streams on YouTube or on Twitter or on other places like that, come to Riverside. Samantha, our wonderful team member, is going to put the link in there for you so that you can come over here and come on camera and ask questions. So asking questions means if you're here in the Riverside audience, you click on that button down at the bottom that says join live. I forget, it's a call in live, something like that. Somebody can put in the chat for me, but whoa, I covered all that ground. That was a lot of stuff, and I hope not too intimidating, but like I said, I tried to tell you the truth about all of it. And I wonder who's got a question. How can we engage? I'll look also in the chat here because those in Riverside, I think, can chat. Oh, Chris Mo's asking, why is it blurry? And the reason is that we're recording local to dis. So when this gets edited, it's actually going to be higher quality. I think there's usually a warning, Chris, when you come into Riverside that says the quality of the image here is not going to be as high quality as the recording. So Riverside is a software that prioritizes the recording. So, with all due respect, and I'm thrilled that you're here live, and thank you everybody for being here live. Um, Chris is saying the call in live is not working for him. We want your question, Chris. So I wonder what's up with that. What happens when you push the button? Obviously, you're chatting. Um, where are you? We tested this earlier, and people were able um, to call in. It won't let you call in. What happens? Oh, and Stephen is also not able to ask questions. I'm going to do the thing about. I'm going to ask Riverside for help. Must be a setting. Maybe actually, you know what? Why don't I ask? Trying to see if I can get tech support. Of course, I'm getting a bot that's trying to answer my question. Audience can't ask questions. Oh, here comes Joanne Richards. She can ask a question. You mind coming on camera, Joanne? I was going to say,
No.
oh, welcome. Yeah, good to have you here.
How are you?
So somebody's able to ask questions.
Me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
How can I help?
So, what's the best way for somebody to get started?
Well, you got to do one step at a time, and you have the opportunity of doing YouTube or TikTok. I would probably choose one of those as the priority video platform. I mean, I think TikTok is the fastest. I don't think I really know that TikTok is the fastest way to grow an audience, because they don't depend on you making friends with people, so to speak, like you have to do on Facebook. Um,
Uh,
as an example. So, it's just based on content. So hashtags, for example, work on TikTok to identify your area of expertise and what it is that you want to be talking. Um, I would move as quickly as possible, even if I don't like recording VOD on Zoom, but it's probably the easiest way. Uh, and Mary Campbell's here asking a question too. I don't know. We're letting too many people on stage at once. We can't. But does that answer your question, Joanne?
yeah, that's fine. I didn't know if you can do it simply or if you got to start with a fancy package or.
Yeah. I mean, I think something is always better than nothing.
Okay,
And
thanks.
so if you start, I mean, and figure out a cadence that you can stick to, right? I mean, the a lot of people will tell you to do TikTok every day. Some people even do multiple times a day. That is what works to really supercharge growing an audience fast on TikTok. But you know, can you do a show once a week on YouTube? It really, if you want longer form, TikTok obviously limits you to 3 minutes. So if you're
Okay.
doing a longer form presentation or wanting to have a conversation, which tends to be 15 or 20 minutes minimum, then YouTube would be the place to do that.
My granddaughter cringes at the thought of grandma being on TikTok.
That's
I know. Okay, thanks, John.
good to see you, Joanne. Thanks for
You
asking. Hi,
too.
Mary. How are
Yeah.
you?
Hi, I'm just fine. I've never done this system, so I didn't know I was going to be here asking a question, but I, of course, have questions. So I I was watching on LinkedIn, and then I tried to come over here, and I missed. I somehow went out of that. So I'm just catching up. And I've been very erratic You know, for a while I did one post outside every day for, and I got a lot, you know, like, I think that was not Instagram, it might have been Facebook back then. And then of course I petered out, and I have started and stopped and started and stopped. And you know, have been saying, oh God, I just hate that stuff. It doesn't work. So what I'm hearing you say is the consistency is the most important thing, or one of the most important things, to just keep doing it and keep doing it and perfect it. I feel pretty comfortable on camera. It's fun. But yeah, doing it every day, and or doing it pretty frequently, and having it begin to have a following has been a challenge for me.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. What you just said is absolutely right, and I've been thinking about it along the lines of, like I said earlier, practice, like a meditation
Yeah.
practice, or like a sports practice. I play golf, and I've been playing golf for a long time, and I'm still learning. Or even more recently, I started playing the ukulele. I use the Hawaiian pronunciation for the think I'm
Ukulele,
saying it
yeah.
weird. Um, and I never thought that I would be able to play music, but actually I've led some sing-alongs and I get away with it. And which is to say that I'm not great, but I show up and I've been learning. And even though, like with meditation practice or like with playing the ukulele, I do it from time to time, and I get into runs where I do it every day, and then times when I don't. And you learn. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's a long-term engagement, and as a video marketing professional, this is the skill that is going to continue to be more valuable. And so your experiments are great, and the experiences that you've had already, I think, are super constructive, whatever they are. You didn't obviously tell me a lot of detail about it, but it sounded like you had some fun. And
Yeah.
the other thing that I learned actually from the music as well as from doing this, I like doing this. This is fun for me. I like playing the ukulele. It's fun for me. And it's crazy for me. This is the way the thought process goes for me, is that why would anybody want to listen to me play the ukulele and sing when I'm such an amateur? And the answer that I came to, because people did seem to enjoy it, or do seem to enjoy it, is that if I'm having fun and also they get to participate, like singing along or whatever, then they're having fun. But it's true, like we see it all the time with performers. When the performer's having fun, we kind of have fun too. And so it's back to the old ancient spiritual proverb of, that Steve Jobs was so proud of, is that the journey, or fond of, that the journey is the reward. And so, I'm opposed to shoulds. I don't think you should do it because you should do it. I
Yeah.
think you should do it if you can have fun. And then that kind of human engagement is really what works.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. Just that gives me
Yeah,
another
thank you.
little,
Good to see
a
you.
little.
Thanks for coming.
It is great to
I'm glad
see you.
popped over from LinkedIn. That's kind of cool
I
because
don't know
this
how
is
to
our
go
first.
back to listening to you though.
You're having trouble hearing on Riverside?
No. I'm on Riverside, but I came right here with this question. I didn't know when I got to Riverside, it popped me here. So I wanted to be able to listen, but here I am asking the question a little before I thought I was ready, but
Oh, I see. You didn't mean to come on to ask the question. You just
I
pushed the
didn't
button.
really. I was going to wait and sort of, lurk, but here I am.
Right. Okay, good. Well, we got a couple questions in chat, so I'll move on to
Okay,
those. And again,
great.
thanks for coming and good to see you.
Great to see you.
So, a question from Chris Moe, who apparently, so it's interesting. I wonder, one idea I have about Chris Moe and Stephen, I don't even know how to say your last name, Stephen Panayiotou. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that. Is that you may not be in the Chrome browser. That's a wild guess. But I know that Riverside works better in the Chrome browser. So that's just one idea. But thank you for your questions via chat. Answer them. Um, yeah, Chris, I want you to connect to headphones because otherwise echo is a big issue. And you asked the question, why not just use Zoom or YouTube live versus Riverside? And the reason is that I'm a professional who prides himself on quality, I guess. The Zoom quality is very much compromised by the internet. And I know you're seeing some live compromise in terms of what's here on Riverside in terms of the live webcast. It'll be interesting for us to look at the quality on, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter in terms of what goes out of Riverside. But Riverside's biggest advantage, and there are a bunch of them that I talk about in that YouTube video I mentioned that you can find on the blog of the 3 softwares we're using, is that it records locally. So there's a recording I can see that's been 88% uploaded at the moment from my hard drive that then I'll be able to use to edit and create a polished version of this webinar without my technical fumbling around and stuff like that. That'll be much better quality. And of course, because that edited version of the recording lives on the web for a long time, ultimately more people will see it. So I am making a compromise, and you make a good point in terms of the quality of the live stream, particularly in Riverside. For those of you who are participating in the audience in Riverside, I think it's less so in streaming, but the advantage is that I get a really nice quality recording, and then it has features on the back end that they call the magic editor that when I'm recording a conversation side by side, it automatically formats it for me with color background and a bunch of other stuff. They're a good company, and the software keeps getting better. So that's why I hope that answers your question. And Stephen asked, let me find that here. Oh, he's running off. He liked I did great. Oh, running off a Mac, but I said, Chris says he's in Chrome, but the security is blocking. There you go. That definitely is going to block your ability to see it. So Stephen, does it make sense to use a separate cell phone for TikTok? I understand they require access to your photos and video library. Yeah, TikTok, it's a mixed bag, but they don't require, well, for uploading, they require you to have a mobile phone. And there are advantages, although they're not like deal-breaking advantages, to producing in the app, in the TikTok app itself, which is very mobile oriented. So the fastest way, certainly, to experiment with TikTok is to use a smartphone to record in TikTok and post from TikTok. If you're going to record, for example, on an iPhone in your camera app and edit, like I sometimes will shoot with a number of cameras and then add the subtitles myself because the TikTok subtitles are really teeny and I like having nice graphic subtitles. Then yes, I have to transfer it to my phone and upload. I imagine that may change over time, but at the moment, the TikTok app is very mobile smartphone oriented. So Chris Moe has solved the security problem. Let's do another live video conversation. Thank you all. This is great. I love having so much participation. I thought I clicked yes, Chris. Ask again. Maybe I accidentally clicked no. Come back. Have I missed chat questions? And Chris Moe, where'd you go? I think I got him. I'm so glad that I pronounced Stephen's name properly. No, I think that's that's the questions. Chris, you still there? You still want to ask a question? I had the ability to approve you and I might have pushed the wrong button. But yeah, I hope this is useful. We will, like I said, edit the production. Those of you that registered, I'm going to send out kind of like the raw video recording just so you can have it right away as a thank you for being here and for registering. And then down the road, once I get it a little bit edited and polished, we'll put it up on YouTube and put it on our blog and start doing the whole thing that I talked about. There's something about we're not going out live, so we'll see. Question, does it make sense to separate? Oh, no, I answered that one. Do I see TikTok feeds as podcasts? That's another question from Stephen. Thank you. So no, podcasts I see as longer form. TikToks are maximum of 3 minutes. One of the things that TikTok has for I put a clip of a video out of a vodcast on TikTok, but really not so much authenticity. I had a conversation not long ago with somebody who was very uncomfortable and afraid. I use the word come out intentionally, but I mean, I guess I'm not anybody's thing, but it was somebody who had transitioned from being a woman to being a man, and he was really concerned about his voice and being on video. And I said, authenticity rules. Camera, the people, but it's short form. Podcasts tend to be more longer form conversations. So they're more oriented towards YouTube and social media. Samantha says I'm live on all the platforms. So I mean, I can only approve you when I see the invitation that you say you want to go live. Chris, are you still there, and do you still have a question? Anybody else have a question? Or not, and we can wrap it up. But anyway, thank you everybody who's here. Whether you're watching on one of those streaming platforms or here inside the Riverside virtual studio, I'm really grateful for your kind attention, and I love being useful. I love hearing your feedback, negative, positive, whatever, about what worked and what didn't work, and what you'd like to hear more of in particular, how I can be of service, and what kind of questions you would like answered. I'll share one thing just kind of about my process. So I've been doing education around internet marketing now for a long time. Um, I don't know, 20 years or whatever. I wrote a book about 10 years ago called Internet Marketing, 8 Key Concepts Every Business Must Know, and have done keynotes and I think about courses and I think about curriculum, because there's lots of things that I talked about today which we could drill down more deeply into, from fear of video to the technicalities and software and so forth. So I'm interested in what you would like to know about and what would be useful. So Stephen, come on down. I made sure I clicked the green arrow.
Can you see me, John?
I can see and hear you. Stephen, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't realize I couldn't use a tablet, so I'm just kind of got in the back room and went to a Safari to see you. I couldn't work off of Firefox for some reason and
What's
see
your
you.
question?
So I'm interested in TikTok, and then also using a video, a vodcast as well. But I don't understand how you would be able to integrate them all so that you don't have to do multiple layers of work to get the same message out.
Well, what do you mean by multiple layers of work? I mean, to a certain extent, you're repurposing it.
Yeah, if you're doing something, on a weekly basis, there's a,
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
a lot more. Is there a way to be efficient, I guess is the question, John.
blog that has that video. I think it was say the one tip, how can you be more efficient, is this video editor called Descript. It's transcription based. So when you upload a video, it automatically transcribes it, and you can then edit from the transcription. Just like you would
No.
edit in a word processor, or that I stumbled and then repeated myself, and you can just chop out the text.
Okay.
But there is a bunch of work, and that's why, we're doing services the way we're doing them. I mean, I guess I didn't toot my own horn enough to say that we've done not only for a couple different clients, put together package and produce, and in some cases I even co-host, and then we do social media as kind of our bread and butter is ongoing social media services, posting for clients. So that the other way, if you have the resources, is to hire us, or there's lots of other agencies who can help you to offload. There also are services, and I know you have my email, feel free to ask, that will do video editing for you, or that will, it's like looking at how to distribute the workload is certainly something that I do. I mean, there are two other people on the call with us here, Vince and Samantha, Samantha's doing the stream, and Vince is my event producer. And, even though I know what I'm doing with this kind of stuff, doing it alone, I've learned a long time ago, is even though I could do it, it's not a good idea. So I'm doing probably more video editing these days than I should, but I kind of enjoy video editing. And it just depends on when I have the resources available. If there's a good client load and cash flow is good, then Vince gets more work in the editing.
Got
How's that for
Okay.
transparency?
That's really good. Yeah. Thank you very much. And I appreciate all the work you do here.
Thank you. It's great. I really appreciate you being around. I know that you've subscribed, and I've heard from you periodically over years. So thanks again for being here, and for being along for the ride. It's fun, and it's folks like you why I keep doing it.
Great. Thanks so much.
All right, Stephen. Be well. So Joanne Richards is saying my video freezes. Uh, I'll invite you out, Stephen. I'm not gonna. I don't want to throw you out of the whole thing.
It's okay. I can come back.
All right. Oh yeah, I think we're all right. So we didn't hear from Chris Moe yet. I think he had a question to come in. I don't know. Maybe he left. Hopefully my video is not still freezing. And a couple of people have left, which is perfectly fine. Of course, we don't hold you prisoner. So any other questions or comments in the chat? Vince said that Stephen was using Safari, so the recording was not supported. So that's an interesting thing for us to, when we invite people into the audience, to say Chrome preferred and tell them about headphones. And I think that Riverside does include that, but of course not everybody reads all the emails. So last call for questions. I don't know, Chris, you might have left, but sorry that we didn't get your live question in, if you're still here. And last call for questions in the chat or in video, or otherwise, I think we'll call it a successful webinar. Successful in large part because you were here. Thank you. And we'll continue with Video Mojo, and I look for you on the socials, and combridges.com has a contact form if you have any other questions or comments or suggestions. And likewise, you can DM me on the socials. Thanks again. Great to be here. Thank you.